I am so glad you're here because today I want to talk to you about competitions. Writing competitions. Ha! If you've ever found yourself in a Reddit thread, a Facebook post, or deep diving into the comments of YouTube and on blog posts for writing competitions as a whole, you will find just how controversial screenwriting competitions can be. Of course, there are those famed few that many feel hit right in the sweet spot of what a competition should be. Famously, you've probably heard of the Academy Nichols Fellowship. This is an international screenwriting competition that's actually hosted and created by the Oscars and the Academy of Motion Pictures. You can see why that matters the most. So let's make this fair. I'm not going to try to convince you of anything. I'm simply going to tell you the benefits that I have found in screenwriting competitions. And it's up to you to watch this video through and make your final decisions after you've heard both sides. And I encourage you to look into the downsides and the pitfalls of screenwriting competitions because there's a lot of great information out there. I never want to steer anyone in the direction that they're not comfortable in. For me, I've previously done a few videos on screenwriting competitions, which you can see linked above, and I truly do not apply to many screenwriting competitions. And the reason for that is fully disclosed in that video. You can go check it out if you have a curiosity to see. Now, does this mean that I purely stay away from any screenwriting competitions? No. I see opportunity and I want a shot at it. I have 7 reasons why I think screenwriting competitions benefit me. Number 1, I think it's super important to start off on this foot telling you that I think the benefits of screenwriting competitions is actually for the advanced writer. That's right, I am not trying to push this onto a new writer or a young writer. I am absolutely pitching this concept and the benefits of it to more advanced writers. There are thousands and thousands of screenplays, or if a smaller competition, hundreds being sent to these competitions. And there's only few competitions that actually are worthwhile. So it's really important to pick and choose which one you apply to, and make sure it's going to benefit your career for the most advanced writing that you have. And that means you're submitting pieces that are fully formed and fully polished. Now, for those of you who want to kind of graze over the fact that I did say it is best suited for advanced writers and still apply anyway, I don't think it's a bad idea. I think that you should reserve this for once in a blue moon, maybe once or twice a year, and just sort of use it for another few of the reasons that I have here. 2, bundled feedback. Yes, you can get feedback anywhere, but sometimes feedback can cost about $60 and up. So I like to, any chance I get with a really good competition, submit to a well-known one that does bundle feedback, or it's something that is probably $25 more. The controversy here is that many feel that these screenplay readers are sort of Joe Schmoes picked up off of the side of the road. I mean, if you look on some of these forums, they literally believe that there's a stuffed animal like Mickey who's doing all the reading. Arguably the cutest reader I've seen. So while yes, it's true, bundled feedback will come from someone who is probably not the producer that you're hoping for, I just want to note that in reality, when you send your script out through an agency to a big producer or a production house, there is not usually a big name producer who is reading your work, or executive for that matter. It actually does go through Joe Schmo. The difference between these two Joe Schmoes is that with one, you actually get your feedback, and you can read every detail of how they felt about what your script brought to the table. The other Joe Schmo who's working for that company somewhere is passing on things like American Beauty and not giving you any feedback notes. The point of competition notes is to help you get a feel for what an audience member would think of your film through the eyes of someone who actually understands the formatting. And the thing that connects both of these readers, they're both going to judge you harshly and subjectively. It's the one pet peeve that I have with writers who are in forums, bringing down other writers by not letting them utilize other tools if they don't have a community who's behind them to read their work. If you don't have someone strong behind you who understands the formatting, getting any feedback is moot. You won't be able to improve your script. Sometimes you need a subjective view to actually make you think differently about your script. And it doesn't mean that they're right or wrong. It just has to come down to, what do you think works best for your script? And that's the hardest part of being a screenwriter, getting all of that feedback and having to figure out what is the right move next. 3, you find out your ranking. Now, for places like Coverfly where you can embed your score into your profile and you can see your ranking sort of rise in points, a lot of feedback does come with a percentile that you fit into. If you tend to shortlist on this competition, that also does prove your ranking as well, because screenplay competitions are notoriously hard. And that is to say that most screenwriters fail at them or don't even place. A large part of this is because they're purely not ready for competitions. And that's why I recommend this mostly for advanced writers. And remember to stay to the end for that bonus tip. 4, scholarships and grants. You may have noticed that screenwriting competitions come in many different forms. Some of them are just purely competitions where you can win a prize, or you can win cash, or maybe equipment. The second type is, of course, fellowships, where you can win a spot to be mentored or work with a company further on developing your idea. The other thing is grant opportunities. So if you've written a short film, for instance, and you're applying for a short film grant, this is made and created to pick the best short films so that they can provide the financing for it. And coming by those opportunities is really important for a small filmmaker or a writer if you're thinking of producing your own films, or you would like to and feel that you're ready to move on to a mentorship, or, of course, you just want the accolades so that you can put it on the next thing. 5, building your resume. These competitions are pretty useful, especially if you're placing. If you're placing on these competitions, you're able to use these for your writing resume. Yes, there is a whole separate resume for writing. Typically when you want to go in for maybe an agency, or you want to go ahead and become a writer's assistant, or anything that has to do with taking assignments or whatever it might be, most of the time writers are expected to have a writing resume, which shows off their achievements and why they are right for the job. It's really important to cultivate this writing resume as well as you can. 6 is you can use any of their grading scales or checklists against your own writing in the future. If you understand how screenplay reading goes, when they're reading your concepts and they're reading your full dialogue and story, they're looking for quite a few things. That's pacing, characterization, dialogue, plot, story arc. This can come in the form of writing feedback. They may have it marked down on that feedback sheet, but it is really a great technique that you can use if you'd like to later on go through your own script and story and see if it measures up or where you can improve. 7, the potential connections even if you don't win. Believe it or not, there have been some screenwriters who have gone on to post that they did make connections after the screenwriting competition, even though they lost, but they did make it to a top tier round. Now, this may come from the rating scales they give you within the competition. This may come from the outside events of placing and showing that you have placed at a certain level for this competition, and coming across a producer who you may have gotten more information about during the competition. Be sure to research those judges, guys, because that's how you do your marketing research. You have to think like a business. Winning competitions is not going to get you all of the fame and glory. What most people say after they've won the competition is that sometimes they get somewhere with their script, but a lot of times they may get writing assignments, or it may launch them to get their agent or manager, and of course, sometimes nothing happens. You have to be an advocate for yourself. No one is going to do that for you. So even if you're winning awards, you need to be making your own moves. And like I said, that includes doing your research on producers who are looking for that kind of content, that will want to work with someone who has got some accolades and has been basically recommended as a great writer. Screenwriting competitions are steep competition. There are many people who would love to be paid to do what we do basically for free, which is write their stories and have people watch and love them just as much as we do privately. So I can see where all the animosity comes from. They don't feel like it propels them into that dream career. But what a lot of people are not understanding is you have to be damn good at what you write. You have to be very polished, because the ones who are entering these competitions, they're not new. They may be other writers who are working in the industry right now and have still not gotten their chance. We are all working over each other to get to the top, but you can't give up. 8. My bonus tip. I use competitions yearly as deadlines, because I know that if I don't have a goal or an aim or a date to get to, because if I set it myself, I'm probably never going to get there. I know that I am more than likely going to write a script, a quick draft, then go over my next few drafts so that I am not speed writing before the competition, and year after year I know when that competition comes back in, that really worthwhile competition. And I can write it down because it generally comes around the same time of year or around the same dates. And I know that I can be ready with a polished script by then. So I do use it as sort of a deadline-driven goal for myself. Thanks for sticking with me through this one, Scribes. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope that you leave me a comment down below if you have any other thoughts or opinions about screenwriting competitions. I'd love to hear it. Just don't want this to be that whole big argument all over again, because there are plenty of forums already doing that, and that would probably be the best place for you to have that open debate and conversation with all of your peers. I hope you liked this video. Give it a thumbs up if you do. It lets me know what kind of content you want to see most. And I will see you in the future, my creative beings.